Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well today. This is Daphne here with Math Mastery Magic. I'm here to solve another problem for you. Let's continue to simplify polynomials or radical expressions. Now let's simplify the expression x to the negative 2, y to the 6, all cubed divided by 3x y to the negative 5 all to the negative 2. The very first step is that we have to distribute the 3 to these two variables. We have x to the negative 2 times 3, y to the 6 times 3 divided by 3 to the negative 2, x to the negative 2, and y to the negative 5 times negative 2. This next step, we multiply out the parentheses, x to the negative 6, y to the 18, and 3 to the negative 2. Remember we said you have anything raised to a negative power is the same as 1 all over that thing to that power, times x to the negative 2 is 1 on x squared, and y to the negative 2 times negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. Next, we have 1 on x to the 6 is the same thing I did here. I'm doing it on that, y to the 18 divided by, I can multiply these two things, 1 times 1. Remember when we are multiplying fractions, 1 on 3 squared is 9 and x squared times y to the 10. So what I can do is I can multiply all this out, or I can do what we studied the other day, how we can divide this. Remember we said 1, if we rewrite this, then we can do this as y to the 18 minus 10, because this goes up, all over 1 this. And the next step is going to be 1 divided by x to the 6 times y to the 18 minus 10 is y to the 8 all over 1 over 9x squared. So the next step is going to be, for me, I'm going to write it in some way. I could skip the next step, but I'm not going to skip. So that is, remember here we have 1 on x to the 6 times that. So I will write this as y to the 8 divided by x to the 6, then divided by 1 over, divided by all of this, 9x squared. I hope you understand that. Then I'm going to use the fact that if I am dividing, I should multiply and invert. So I have y to the 8 divided by, here, divided by x to the 6. Remember, I'm going to rewrite it first. Divided by 1 this. So the next step, I'm going to leave the first one just as it is, but I will multiply and invert. 9x squared over 1. Now I can just multiply, and I will have 9 to the 8, no, 9y to the 8x squared divided by x to the 6. So now we see that there is something we can do with this, and that will be 9y to the 8 x to the 2 minus 6. Or if I don't want to do this step, which the next step is going to be 9y to the 8 x to the 2 minus 6 is negative 4. And this will become 9y to the 8 divided by x to the 4. This is the solution. But then from here, I could move from here and say 9y to the 8 x squared all over x squared times x to the 4th. That could be a simple way, and I will see that this will go away and I'll have the same thing as down here. I hope this was helpful. The next problem, I am going to try to prove that x to the 0 equals 1. That means I'm trying to prove that anything raised to the power 0 is 1. So if I consider x to the a and if x to the a is a real number and is multiplied by its reciprocal, let me consider, I'm just using that because I know that I'm going to use that and it will solve my problem. So x to the a, so if I multiply x to the a times 1 over x to the a, it's going to give me 1. You can agree with me. Now I can rewrite this. As x to the a times x to the minus a. Equals 1. I've just rewritten this and I'm equating it equal to 1. And because these have the same base, it means that from what we learned when we started doing polynomials, I can write it as x to the a plus minus a equals 1. This means that x to the a minus a equals 1. This means that x to the 0 equals 1. So I have proven that. Another problem, I'm going to do another simplified problem. Let's say simplify 72x to the 5y to the 8. Simplify this. So for me to simplify this, I can start by rewriting that as 72 is 36 times 2 times x to the, because of the square root sign, I'm trying to write it in a way that I'm going to be able to find the square root of some of the things. So I can write this as x to the 5, I can write it as x squared times x squared times x. I could just have written it as x to the 4th. Then I can write y to the 8 as y to the 4th times y to the 4th. Sorry. And this will become, I know that 36 is 6 squared, so I can go ahead and write this as 2 times 6 squared, or 6 squared times 2 times x squared. Remember, this times this, I could write it as this, times x. And I could write this, there are two of them, is the same thing as y to the fourth squared. And this will become, since I know that 6 squared, this is 6 squared square root, the square root of a number. Or I could just see that the square root of 36 is 6. And I will pull 6 out. So what I'm trying to say is, if I have 2 squared square root, the answer is going to be 2. Because this is just the same as the square root of 4. Remember, square root, what number do I multiply by itself to have that? So this will become 6, will come out. This will also come out. This will come out. And then in the square root sign, I'll be left with 2 and x. Because I can't find a value, an exact value for the square root of 2 and the square root of x. So the answer is 6x squared y to the fourth square root of 2x. So this is the simplified version of that expression. Okay, one more simplify. Let's try to simplify the expression, the cube root of negative 8x to the 7, y to the 5, and z squared. So we know that, I'm going to write the equal sign here. We know that the cube root of 8 is 2. Or if I take negative 2 to the 3 power, I will have 8. I can also write x to the 7 as x squared cube. You see, the first one I was trying to write it in squared. Now I'm trying to write this in cube because this is cube root times x. X to the 7 is x to the 6 plus x to the 6 times x to the 1. That's why I'm trying to do that, so that it will be easy for me to find the cube root. Then times y to the 5, I can write that as y to the 3 times y squared. Then times z squared, all cube root. And the next step, what I will do is I will pull out, because the cube root of negative 2 cube is negative 2. So that is negative 2. The cube root of x squared cube is x squared. The cube root of y cube is y. So I will be left in the cube root sign, I will be left with x, because it's just x by itself, and then y squared and z squared. So that is the only way we can simplify that problem. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you. And have a blessed day.